Hello and welcome back to Aspiring Creator, where we talk about all the behind the scenes stuff of running a moderately successful content creation business, YouTube channel, TikToks and Instagrams, and all the other kind of bits and bobs that follow. So I just write down a few notes from for stuff that's happened from the last time we did one of these shows. And this week, it's an interesting one because I have just come back from China and shot a commercial for TCL, a big TV company. And it was a wild experience. So I'll run you through the process. I'll move on to the other bits in a bit, but I just wanted to run you through what happened, my experience, and maybe you will find it useful. So we agreed a brand deal with TCL. We are basically, and obviously there was negotiations going on, and they wanted us to basically do a commercial together, and we post it on our YouTube channel. Negotiations back and forth, and we were like, well, we're not going to post a commercial on our YouTube channel. That's just not how YouTube works. We will shoot the commercial and you can post it on your channel, and they were fine with that. So we've gone ahead with that. And so what happened is we've kind of semi-written the script together. So they basically came with their script because they've obviously got their talking points they want me to hit on. And I just reworded it into something that was, more natural for me to say and sound a bit better in my English. And obviously there's like a language disconnect here between like the Chinese and English language. So just trying to make sure everything was correct. And so we put together a script. So I have the scripts in front of me here, and then flew out there. And it was just a very, very quick, brief experience, but also a long experience at the same time. So we flew out there, which is like a 10 or 11-hour flight. Landed. I met the agency rep who was there and was there to look after me. And if you listen or watch or anything, then thank you so much for looking after me. So met me at the airports, took me to the hotel. I checked in, dropped my stuff off. And then it was like, 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And so it was like, cool. Do you want to go see anything? Do you want to go like see the sights? And part of me was ready to sleep because jet lag and everything. But part of me was like, well, this is like the only time we've got. So yeah, let's go out and see something. And so I was like, oh, it'd be quite cool to see the Pokemon store because, like, I have a Pokemon YouTube channel with my son, and it's something he's really into. So I'd love to like bring him back some, Chinese Pokemon cards. And so he found it. It was like an hour's drive away or 50 minutes in the taxi. So we got a taxi, went to central Shanghai, got to the Pokemon store, spent like £200 on Pokemon cards, which I think he was a bit surprised at because you can't do that in the UK. You can't just walk into a store, get Pokemon cards at retail price and walk out again. It's sold out everywhere. So we did that, went sightseeing, walked down the river, saw some cool stuff. It was really, really incredible. Got home and got back to the hotel. And then the next morning, the plan was, I think the camera crew were getting set up from like 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I turned up from, I think it was like 10 or 11 in the morning. I turned up to, get ready and start shooting everything. And like, I turned up and it was the place where they were shooting. I've never been somewhere like that before. And it was incredible. It was fascinating. It was like a Hollywood studio type location where you're walking through like these streets and every single place is like a fake movie set. So there was like one place was set up as like a fake cafe and had all the big lights outside shining onto the front of the cafe. And obviously loads of people in character in their clothing for the whatever they were shooting. Camera crew, just all sorts of things going on. It was really, really cool. And we got to the first location, which was like this big stage. And so we had the big stage with the curtains and everything drawn, which we were scripted as part of the video we were making. And it was like a cinema seating. So everyone had like loads of seats behind it. There was like, I dread to think, it felt like 20 or maybe 30 people were there just to shoot this commercial just for me. And it felt a bit like, as I walked in, it was like, oh, Pete's here. We need, yeah, Pete's here. It felt like being like a mini celebrity for the day. And I went straight from there. I went into hair and makeup. So they started doing some makeup on my face. They realized I had a tattoo. So they were starting to try and cover the tattoo up, but then realized that it's quite a big one, so they couldn't cover it up. So instead, they actually went out and find some different clothing for me to wear that was like a long sleeve shirt to cover the tattoo up. And basically throughout the whole day, I think it was like 1 or 2 people looking after my hair and makeup, another 1 or 2 people looking after my clothing I was wearing. And like it felt quite bad sometimes because, and as you're waiting around, you're like sat on set waiting for like the lights to be moved or the cameras to be set up or whatever it is, or them to just check what you just shot. And you'd be like, oh, I'm a bit tired. I'm going to sit down. So I'd sit down in the chair I was in. And then like they'd run up to me and like start adjusting my trousers and my shirt and making sure it was all like looking proper for camera. But then I'd obviously go and stand up. So like when we're ready to shoot, I'd stand up again, and then they'd come back, and then they like adjust all my clothing again. So it was really, really bizarre having that kind of level of attention on me for a long time for that day. And then same with like they come and like hairspray my hair as the day ran on. My hair was starting to like, you know, the wax or whatever I used starting to wear off. So they had to come back and spray it and keep it up, and they dab my face with stuff. So it was yeah, a wild experience. And there was me thinking like, cool, this is where we are for today. So like, this is where we're shooting. Um, and in that first set, we spent a very, very long time. There was one set where I swear I said the words like, welcome to the wonderful world of SQD LED or whatever it was. And they were trying to get the curtains behind me to open up perfectly. And they had like a sign hanging down. It was like catching on the sign or like wouldn't draw equally. And we did that shot like, again, I guess like 30 times or so. Me saying it and presenting and doing all the actions, and then camera sliding in properly and the curtain opening properly. And it took a lot of takes to do that. And so we did that. And then we moved to the next set. So I got change of clothes, went into the next set. And I walked around the corner in this location we were in. And all of a sudden we were in like a very, very luxury apartment studio kind of place. And it was just like, this is a warehouse, but it's a house. It's a warehouse. And so like, again, this is like the whole like Hollywood, so all I can really refer to it as like cinema thing, where you're walking in and there's just sets everywhere. And that was fascinating. So again, like the whole camera crew then emptied out from the first location, moved all the gear into the second location. And this shoot, we're literally talking about, there was a director, there was like camera operators, multiple camera operators, there was crew to do the lighting, there was someone whose job was just to operate the teleprompter that I had to be able to read the lines. There was just somebody for everybody, someone for sound, somebody holding the boom arm, and you know, all those kind of bits. I had a mic pack that was on me all the time as well, so they had multiple audio like sources, so they could have you know, the correct sounding audio, and they could switch between them if need be. There was a guy who was editing the video as we were going, so they were dumping footage onto the guy's laptop, and then he could then start editing the video. It was just incredible. And so we got into second set. We started shooting, and there were some lines here where I had to remember the lines, and I was like, I wasn't expecting this. I thought it was all teleprompter. So I had to like remember some lines. And this was one interesting thing I had, because again, there's like the language disconnect between like Chinese and English. I had a translator, but I think the translator was struggling with some of my English some of the time as well. Maybe because I talk quite fast, but I did try and slow down and simplify. But and maybe because the script had been pre-approved by like HQ, they wanted me to like nail the script word for word. Even though some of the sentences, when I'd like remember something back, and I'd like, my brain would just skip a word out, because in like English, that word's not needed. So it didn't change the sentence at all because I just skipped the word. But they would come out, no, you need to say it again. You need to remember the go word. And so like, okay, like, and I'd repeat the line like 30, 40, 50 times. And then like the camera crew would be sitting there like wondering what we're doing. And then I'd be like, are we gonna shoot? Like, are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. And then all of a sudden, let's start shooting again. So there was a lot of line memorization. There was also a disconnect because the director would tell me to do something, and then the translator would tell me to do something that was different to the director. And so first of all, I did what the translator told me, because you know, that's who I should be listening to, because she's translating stuff properly. And it was like the most recent information I had. You know, that's the directors told me that you need to be doing this. Oh, okay, cool, I'll do that for you. But then I do that, and then the director would be like, no, cut. Like, what are you doing? Like, we should be doing this that I told you to do. So I started listening to the director. And so like things like that we picked up over the day. And so, yeah, second set, we were doing this like living room scene, and we were shooting like, I don't even know what time of day it was at this time. I remember thinking it was like the middle of the afternoon still, because the light coming in from the windows just looked like, you know, natural daylight. And I was like, oh, maybe it's like Europe here, where, you know, the summer days are like really long days, and it's really long and light outside. And then I went to change my clothes, and I walked out to absolute pitch black darkness. And I was like, oh, it's the middle of the night. And so it was like, I think like 10 p.m. maybe when we finished in like the studio sets. They like did everything they could to look after me. Like if I needed anything, if I wanted a drink, they would go out and find whatever I wanted for me. They asked me what I wanted to have for lunch, and I was like, oh, maybe like, you know, chicken and rice or something, or maybe like a burger. They're like, yep, we could do a burger. What kind of burger would you like? And I was like, oh, just hamburger or cheeseburger or something. And then they come back with like 10 different types of burgers and like fries and chicken wings and like loads of other bits. And then I'd have the first pick at like, oh yeah, I'll go for that burger, please. And then the rest of them would just eat whatever was left. It was really, really, really odd. Again, like feeling like a celebrity of like having people do things for me was just not something I am used to. I don't think I could ever get used to that, but it was a nice experience all the same. And then we moved on to the third set. And actually, I got changed thinking, oh, cool. Okay, we'll come back into the studio sets. No, I came back and all of a sudden that room was empty. And we were in a third room now, which was a big warehouse space where they'd already shot some B-roll shots. And now I was doing like the finished pieces. One of the things I really struggle with was, and I have a lot more appreciation for actors, and if you're in like TV shows or movies, is when I make these YouTube videos, I script everything from start to finish. There may be clips where like I decide to move the camera or change angle or add in some vlog clips, but I kind of know the story. But it was such a busy day, and I had lots of different lines to memorize or read through and what have you. That to be able to read a particular line, but then also have knowledge of how you finished the line before it that you said like 4 hours ago or 6 hours ago in a different location in different clothes. That I really, really struggle with, and I don't think I did a good job. And actually, something I realized I didn't do at all throughout the day was go and look at like, oh, let's go see how that take was. Can I just see what I looked like on camera? There was a couple of times I glanced at like the camera and seeing it on the tiny little camera monitor, but that was kind of it. And I was really letting the director guide me, and I just hope I did a good job for the director and they captured what they needed. And actually, again, in hindsight, I should have probably taken a bit more of an interest in like, oh, cool, can I just watch that back to make sure like, how did I look on camera? How did it come off? Like, was I saying the right way? Maybe even asking the editor if I can just see a quick playback just to see how things turned out. Problem being is that, as soon as a set is disassembled, then like you're done. You can't exactly be like, actually, could we just go back and shoot that in set one from this morning? Because it's like everything's been torn down. So definitely some learning lessons there. But in that last location, we carried on shooting until we finished at 2:00 in the morning. And so and I was expecting a long day. I think originally I was expecting like 8 till 8. And the rep I was with was like, it's cool. Let's we can all invite the camera crew and we can all go and get a beer after and enjoy ourselves. But like 2:00 in the morning, we were not ready to go and get a beer, and it was just like, I'm ready for bed now. And it was really, really lovely of them. We finished, and this is the thing that I've seen other people do in shows and things, but just never thought it would happen. Like they set up this final shot, and I started reading some lines, and in my brain, I was like, I think I've either done these lines or I don't recognize these lines. And then I read, so it was only a very, very short paragraph, and got to the end, and it was something like, and thank you, Pete. And I was like, and thank you, Pete? Oh, this is the end. Was that it? And all of a sudden, the rep came out holding like a massive bunch of flowers, which I couldn't fit in my suitcase to bring home, unfortunately, but very, very kind thought of them. And then like everyone cheered and celebrated a little bit. Everyone had like a quick tiny little cup of like Chinese beer. And it was just a nice little celebration. And we had like some group shots. There was a group video as well. We did I think China sponsoring the Olympics, and we did the thing, and I spoke some Chinese. I think it was a bit of a blur because it was 2:00 in the morning. But again, such a great experience. So the video is with them now. They are editing it. We should get to see a preview, I guess, at some point soon. We're allowed to like make some suggestions and changes to that final video before they then post it. And then they're going to tag us in the post to like do a collaboration post on YouTube. So as it goes out on YouTube, it's like both of us posted that video together. So yeah, that was the experience. It was a fantastic experience. I would do it again within a heartbeat. It was just, again, such a wild thing that this YouTube journey was like, I was flown to China in business class, hotels were covered, and I was paid to go there and do that thing for the day. And that's just like part of the job now. It's such an incredible experience. And like, again, one I'm going to remember for a very long time. It was a shame I didn't get to stay in China that long, because I had to then, so I got to bed at 4:00 in the morning, because I think I got back to my room and I had to go blitz through my emails quickly because I could not, keep up with anything that day. And then woke up at like 7 or 8 to get my taxi to go to the airport to then fly back the next day. So it was a very, very short trip. But it was, really, really nice. Really, really good, fun experience. Next on my list. Going back through like brand deals and busy and quiet times of the year, and there's a couple of like things I want to discuss here because we've been like a really good thing. Like we've been inundated. I'm not inundated. We could always accept more. We've had a lot of requests for monitor videos recently from like brands that want to pay for dedicated things. One brand basically just bought out 4 dedicated videos on the channel at like a decent rate. And so, like, that's all we've been focused on for the like, it's a mess behind me. Like, there's monitors here, there. There's 2 on the floor. There's 3 over there. There's 2 in the corner over there. There's 2 on the desk over there. There's 1 behind. There's so many screens in the studio right now. There's 1 down on the floor there. It's just it's gone absolutely nuts. And so we are kind of like we are leaning more into monitors because I genuinely enjoy doing the monitor stuff. I think it's fun. There's so many different like aspect ratios and refresh rates and fun stuff for gaming and for productivity, and like the audience seems to love it. The monitor videos we do then tend to perform quite well. So again, it's just like with views as they are on YouTube right now, we're leaning more into the stuff that again, like there seems to be I have a passion for. The viewers seem to be having interest for it as well. So we're leaning more into that. We're doing less phone reviews, but we are leaning again into the stuff that we know will or should perform better for us. So for us, that is the 3 key brands, Apple, Samsung, Google Pixel, and then it's covering phone launches, minor kind of phone releases, accessory releases, doing like first things videos and that whole thing. So we're still doing a lot of that, but if you look at the balance on the channel, it's now there's a lot more monitor stuff coming up because obviously a brand's bought some content out. But this is where I was chatting with another content creator recently where, he's growing to 100,000 subscribers and he was kind of thinking, well, 100K, like the AdSense will be enough and I can make whatever videos I want and I can just live off AdSense. And that's not really how it works, unfortunately. AdSense, generally speaking, has gone down for most creators that I know, even though views have leveled or gone up, or people are struggling with views and the views are going down as well. There's that whole discussion piece. Short form traffic also is worth like next to nothing in terms of AdSense. And if your views are coming mostly from like India and those kind of places, again, that's worth even less for AdSense. So what I was chatting with him briefly about was just like we have this. So I love making the phone content and I really enjoy that content. It also has other benefits because that also means I get to travel more for work because those phone companies want to fly you around places so you can try out, taking photos and videos and that kind of stuff. So that has its own perks. But they're not paid. It's just like, well, fly you out, put you in a hotel, and you can like come and have fun in this country. But for us, the monitor content is the stuff that brings in money, and actually, it's monitor and like some software stuff. So we were in discussions recently with a couple of software companies, and those were like 20 grand, 25 grand deals. And I don't think neither of those have come through. But looking at it like hardware, and again, like I said, monitor content for us is stuff that is good brand deals. They pay well and they're great companies to work with. So we want to obviously do more of those. And so this creator, I suggested like they need to find like their thing. Like, is it like phone companies? Generally, I find phone companies, case companies, watches, tablets, fitness things, all these kind of things. Generally speaking, they don't spend money because they know they can just ship out a device to like thousands of content creators, and they'll go like, "Cool, free device. My audience is interested. I'm going to make a video anyway because like there's interest." And but that doesn't generate money. So those creators, and if you are in the same position, like you need to find something that does bring in the money that you can have as that second like pillar of content. Like ours is very firmly monitor content. Like you look at our channel, monitor content performs well, gets great views, gets great engagement. We get great affiliates from it. And we have brands wanting to pay money for us to do more monitor content. So like there must be others. Like car content, I've heard car content is doing quite well recently on YouTube, both performance stats and again, car companies paying money. I don't know if that's just like my knowledge of someone who doesn't make car content, but I've heard people say like, oh, I had this car brand wanting to pay me money to do a review. So it's worth finding what that might be for you, whether that is software or hardware or whatever it might be, because that is the thing that can help do the funding side of things. Because the other flip side of that is you don't do the big stuff and you just do the small dedicated, the small integrations. You're either accepting dedicated videos for stuff that you don't really want to do, you don't really care for, your audience doesn't really want to watch or view. It's just like they're just sponsored turds that appear on the channel that we all know and see. It's always like the robotic lawnmowers or pool cleaners or exoskeleton legs and all this kind of thing that most people don't want to watch a dedicated video on it. And there's an audience for it, but it's not like, in terms of you making a dedicated video about it, it's very likely that it's going to tank for your channel. It's not going to perform unless you or the brand put some money behind it to promote it and boost the views on it, essentially. But what that leaves you is the only other option there is integrations. And the integrations are typically much lower value. And again, like, it just interferes with the video. Like, if you've got a video about your mobile phone, now here's a word from the sponsor, and I'm going to talk to you about this thing that you're not interested in, but like, you're going to hear about it anyway because I need to fund my channel. It's just, which is a fine way of doing it. It's, that's completely acceptable, and we've been doing it for that way for 6-7 years or so. But just like, having gone through this process, that level of like the integrations is a lot more management work. It's admin hassle of like sending invoices, chasing invoices. Obviously, we have an agency that takes care with a lot of that, but we're also having to do a lot of the emails back and forth and like, here's the revision, here's the approvals, like, here's the feedback. We need to make some changes and send it back to the brand for approval. And like, it'll be nice not to have to do that for most videos, and then just have these big dedicated videos that then fund the channel financially, to then mean that the other videos we make that don't bring in an income are like completely free of sponsorship. We can do what we want. So I'm just going to put that out there. That's like obviously the perfect scenario. But in the same time, it's always nice to work with some great brands that do the integrations. There are some brands that we work with that, again, we genuinely love and want to feature their products, and the audience loves. But it still feels that like, everyone sees that thing. It's they watch the retention of the video. There's a little dip where you have the ad break, and then like it comes back again. And so the ideal retention curve is like nothing. We were actually, I need to check with Matt. We were actually going to test this recently and see, actually, should we not try taking the Google ads out of the video, the like mid rolls, and just seeing how that works? Because even more so this year, the focus with YouTube is very much on like watch time, like getting your viewers to click, getting them to watch all of the video and be happy watching the whole video and go watch something else next. And just, if you throw an ad up and just a few people click away, then is that not a bad sign that YouTube sees as a bad sign and then stops promoting your videos? So there is that. That's I'll double check on that, and we'll try that for next time. And that also does really, like, I'm very firmly of the belief now that mixing long and short form content for some channels, at least for my channel, doesn't seem to work. Like, you're building two separate audiences. You're building a short form audience that will never watch a long form video, and you're building a long form audience that will never probably watch a short form video. And I think that, YouTube is wasting impressions on people that are never going to watch your videos. Say you're subscribed to my channel and you subscribed off the back of a shorts and you were scrolling shorts. You go onto YouTube, YouTube shows you a long form video of mine, and you just go like, oh, I'm not interested in that. I like his shorts. I'm going to go watch something else. And vice versa, if you subscribe for a long form video and you're scrolling YouTube and there's a 60-second short for me, it's like, oh, no, not interested. I want to watch his like 20-minute in-depth reviews or comparisons or whatever it is. Like, you're building up these two audiences that have no intention to cross. And by wasting the impression on somebody who is never going to intentionally watch your video, is that not just like a bad sign? And I know, of course, there's the whole like, well, you should make it clickable so that your short subscribers want to watch your long form videos. But I feel like I have the same thing myself. Like, people I'm subscribed to for shorts, I watch them for their shorts. People for longs, I watch them for the longs. And I might watch some of their shorts. That's probably the only exclusion of like, if you're a long form subscriber, I think, because if you're a long form subscriber, you watch them for the person, the personality, and what they're talking about. And so if the short form is showing off more of their personality or what they're talking about or the tech you're interested in, then there's more of a crossover, but not from shorts to longs. And from lots of our lots of our viral short form videos, we've got lots of subscribers, but again, I don't think those subscribers are converting to long form views. So I'm just going to leave that point there. That's just kind of what I thought in terms of a bit of everything: sponsorships and brand deals and shorts and longs and that whole thing. My second YouTube channel, I have a Pete Matheson's Cool YouTube channel because we're having a bit of fun with it. There's a few videos up there. It's performing pretty well. We've done there's a couple of videos have got 10,000 views, 1,000 views. And again, from super short, sit down, hit record. Hey guys, this is a new video. Switch to the top down camera. Look, let me show you that kind of format, which is instantly upload, use AI thumbnails, use AI titles. It's like the least effort I can possibly put into making a YouTube video. but they're still performing relatively well. It's only like 100 subscribers. It's like next to nothing. But I'm interested to see what that format does and where it can go to, because it means I can pump out more videos. I can cover more topics. I can not focus so much on the statistics, because it's just a case of, hey, and it's like when I work with brands and like Logitech, they launched a new productivity keyboard and mouse that I don't really care for personally, but there's an audience for it. So cool. I can put that on Pete Masson's cool YouTube channel. And if people are searching for it, they can find it. But it doesn't waste a slot on the main channel, which is even more so nowadays, reliant on getting the views, because brands go like, your views are very low right now. Let's not pay you as much money anymore. So there is that. Claude. I'm going to finish off on this. So Claude's a very minor update on my Claude fund that I had. So I got access to the Fable model recently. Obviously, it's been taken off now. Where's my Safari? Has disappeared, because that's what I'm using. Here we go. So that's the wrong one. Let's bring that over here. Claude. I'm still using Claude to do my like dashboard, and I'm developing it a lot further now, and it's getting good. So now my dashboard, again, I've completely like vibe coded this with Claude. It runs locally on my Mac here, so I'm not in the cloud anymore. There's much less in terms of security issues, and I can back it up and all that kind of stuff. So now I have a dashboard that just says, here are the number of brands that need your attention, in terms of like brands you need to follow up with because you haven't heard from them recently, or maybe they've launched something recently and you might be launching something recently you want to talk to them about. It gives me my income from the last 30 days, and it looks up my affiliate income from the whole affiliate thing I built out, looks up my sponsorship income from this system, but also from our Monday system, and looks up AdSense from the last 30 days. So that's a great indicator of like how the performance is doing in the last 30 days. I've got a section for contracts and deals. So any videos that are currently like in the middle of like being negotiated, or we're in signing but we haven't signed yet, that kind of thing, that flags it up there. And that's, again, it's just so that, me or Matt can just like look at this and go like, oh, cool, I need to do that today. So that keeps us up to date with those things. There's a what's next section, which Bav, I know who edits these, I nicked from one of her LinkedIn posts, I think it was, that just tells us like, oh, hey, you should be editing the Monster review video right now. Next up, you need to do the title and packaging for this video. You should be filming this video. You need to do the thumbnail or whatever. So that's that section. And then I've got this production pipeline section, which it's really cool, actually. So I have tick boxes for packaging, script, shoot, and edit. And as the weeks go by or what have you, it basically tells us what we should be doing, what's in our pipeline. And when we've shot a video, I can just tick the thing saying, oh, we shot that one. And it just gives us a nice board of green ticks when we've done them. But I can see now here we have one video that still needs editing. Two videos that still need editing. And we need to shoot or finish shooting one of the monitor videos. So like, just again, by looking at this, I can see what's going on in the business. Next up, I've actually tied this into Frame.io. So when a new video by one of my editors gets uploaded to Frame.io, it pops up in here to say like, oh, there's a video that's awaiting your approval. But it also allows me to then link that video to the video within our like Monday.com like project management system, which we are slowly moving away from because we're moving it all into this system instead. But it means we can link the draft to the actual video in the project management system. And then similarly, when we post it on YouTube, it's like, oh, a new YouTube video has been posted. Which video in Monday does that link to? And it will then link the two, update the thumbnail and the title and stuff in our project management system, so that when we, in 6 months' time, go looking for that video, it's named the same in YouTube as it is in our project management system, rather than like the working title. And then it gives us our last 6 videos of performance. It gives us like the views and likes and comments and the thumbnail and the title and those kind of things, which is pretty awesome. And that is like where I got to. Again, it's running fully locally. It refreshes the data every hour. The only issue with that is I think YouTube needs to refresh once a day, which involves me logging into like the YouTube account for it. So that's a bit of an issue because it doesn't pull the YouTube stuff unless I do that. But it is like, it's incredible. Like, again, Claude, just being able to sit here and like vibe code stuff, like pulling in my affiliate stats all into one place, it's pretty awesome. And my affiliate portal now, there's a button that appears at the end of each month where I just click on run month end, and it does like, hey, drop your Amazon UK CSV here, drop your Amazon US CSV here. And there's a few other brands where it doesn't integrate, but I can log in and it like gives me the link to jump straight to the place where I can just copy the figure and dump the file there, or dump the figure in there. Or Amazon bonuses, it says like, what's your Amazon bonus this month? So I can just literally in one page, I can just do what I need, click on submit, and it refreshes and pulls all the data in, and then I get my figure that I need, rather than, again, having this like third-party platform that does like 70% of what I need, but I need to then go manually do the rest. This like pretty much automates all of it. So yeah, that is the podcast for this week. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Again, do leave some feedback in the comments for the podcast. Leave some questions or feedback on YouTube. Feel free to DM me if you have any questions. You know, I'm super, like, I'm an open book as far as like anything comes. Obviously, I can't be specific with like which brands have paid this much for this, but I can speak to me in my DMs and I can help you. I'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.